It will be partly cloudy tonight with lows dropping down to the upper 50s. Then tomorrow, mostly cloudy, highs around 85. We'll be right back.
Bobby Charles sounds good, doesn't he? Well, none of it's true. Mr. Crime Fighter? Nope. Bobby Charles has spent 25 years as a Washington, D.C. lobbyist. He'll clean up Augusta? Wrong again. When Charles ran a federal agency, auditors slammed him for poor management and wasting billions of tax dollars. Charles' record was a total disaster. So don't be fooled by Bobby Charles. You can't trust anything he says.
Davis Brothers Furniture is expanding. At Davis Brothers, we've always strived to stand out from the rest, and we are now proud to offer flooring for your home, featuring both carpeting and luxury vinyl flooring. We even have an installer in-house with over 30 years of experience. Come see the reason people have been traveling from all over the state and beyond to Davis Brothers Furniture in Guilford for decades. Davis Brothers Furniture, deliberately different, delivering statewide.
It was a monster year for Newport native Cooper Flagg. He reached heights that no one ever thought we'd see from a fellow Mainer. We will celebrate that year with a Cooper Flagg special on Wednesday, June 10th on ABC before the NBA Finals Game 4.
Half-off deals are waiting for you at foxbangor.com. Click on half-off deals and see how much you can save only at foxbangor.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Thousands of voters will line up at the polls today. However, with crowded fields in this year's primary races, election officials say results could take more than a week to be finalized.
People are really enthusiastic to come, cast their ballots, cast their votes, and participate in their civic duty and participate in their democracy.
Tuesday's primary election will set the stage for the highly anticipated general election in November. And voters in both parties can expect to see ballots with packed fields of candidates.
Election night, we won't know who the clear winner is. We will know who's gotten the greatest number of number one votes.
The Secretary of State's office says many races will likely go to ranked choice, as candidates in a field of more than 3 candidates must obtain more than 50% of first choice votes to win outright. As a result, all ballots and memory drives must be transported by law enforcement to Augusta to be collected and tabulated. That process can take several days.
It's really hard to tell until we know how those votes actually play out from the voters and how we know, what towns are available, how quickly they're able to get their counts to us, and then turn things over to law enforcement.
Which race is tabulated first also depends on how quickly materials arrive. Bangor City Clerk Lisa Goodwin says it takes 3 months of planning for Election Day.
My team, we have usually 75 people working at one time. So it takes a lot of people. It's a village to get this going and make it work smoothly and correctly.
McBrien says there is a chance that they could have results for Congressional District 2 before statewide races.
Well, if we have all of Congressional District 2 in hand before we have the rest of Congressional District 1, we'll start uploading for Congressional District 2.
The polls here in Bangor will officially open 7 a.m. and polls statewide will close 8 p.m. Tuesday. In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And the ranked choice calculation process will also be live streamed and open to the public. That location will be announced as soon as ranked choice tabulation begins.
Well, the candidates for governor are making their final pitches to voters as the race for the Blaine House is one many we're watching. Julia Simone caught up with some of the candidates from both sides.
Polls will be open tomorrow from 7 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. As for the race for governor, on the Republican side, Bobby Charles remains the frontrunner. A UNH poll released at the end of May shows he's grown his lead to 37%. While his closest competitor, Jonathan Bush, has made a double-digit increase in recent months and currently sits at 18%. Another Republican candidate for governor, Ben Midgley, is currently at 11%. Republicans we were able to speak with today say a new face needs to be in the Blaine House to change what is happening here in Maine.
The people in power in Augusta have made their lives about who gets to get the next slice of the shrinking pie, with no consideration to the idea that we can actually grow our economy if we act in the right way.
I've been from food stamps to creating 15,000 jobs. No team is going to work harder for you to get this state back on track. So we'd appreciate your vote.
As for the Democrats running for governor, the UNH poll shows Dr. Nirav Shah and Troy Jackson in a dead heat at 28%, while Angus King III, another Democrat candidate for governor, is at 7%. The Democrats we caught up with today kept the focus on working families here in Maine and encouraged voters to show up at the polls tomorrow.
Let's not make any mistakes as to what we are up against. Families across this state are getting squeezed from every single direction. People are paying more and getting less. They are doing everything right and still not making ends meet.
The way to do that is to help working families, and the best way to help them is with more and better, higher paying jobs.
Well, meanwhile, Maine's District 2 congressional race has former Governor Paul LePage running unopposed in today's Republican primary, and 4 candidates are running on the Democratic side of that race. A recent Survey USA poll shows State Senator Joe Baldacci leading, followed by State Auditor Matt Dunlap, Jordan Wood, and Paige Loud from Old Town. Brad Rogers has a closer look at what voters think about that primary race.
Many voters in Maine's 2nd Congressional District have already made up their minds about who they will vote for. Dan Fecta and his son Jason voted early for Joe Baldacci, whose top priorities are preserving Social Security and Medicare for seniors.
Well, I voted for him because I thought he had the best chance to beat Paul LePage.
I think there's a lot of good candidates this year. I think there's a lot of options to pick from. I just felt Baldacci was the best choice.
State Auditor Matt Dunlap supports universal health care and bringing prices down.
I know Matt Dunlap has a lot of supporters, so it's going to be close on that side.
Jordan Wood supports universal child care and protecting voting rights.
I'm going to go for Jordan Wood. That's who I've been following for the most part online.
What do you like about Jordan Wood?
His demeanor, calmness.
Paige Loud also supports universal health care and expanding access to food for children and seniors. But what's driving many voters to the polls are rising prices on gas, food, housing, and more, along with President Trump's positions on immigration, human rights, and cuts to wind and solar projects.
We're not going to have anything. They're taking away all the conservation, taking away a lot of rights for people.
I've always been for, human rights and all that stuff. Just treat everybody equally.
The lone Republican running for the seat being vacated by Jared Golden, former Governor Paul LePage, says he wants to cut waste and fraud in government. How do you feel about Paul LePage getting back into politics?
I think it's great. Just any Republican that can make any difference. And, we've had Democrats for so long out here that nothing seems to be changing. It's only getting worse.
Ahead of tomorrow's primary, President Trump reaffirmed his support for former Governor Paul LePage. One other note, if you are an independent, you can vote in the primaries, but only for one party.
Well, with Maine's primary election today, as we've said, we've been working to give our viewers a deeper look into the candidates you'll potentially be voting for. Today we hear from Democratic congressional candidate Matt Dunlap.
I'm running for Congress because in this very dangerous and uncertain time, we all have to step up and meet the moment, and I want to do my share. I started in this business over 30 years ago. Never had much interest in politics. I grew up in Bar Harbor on a farm just in Town Hill, just outside of the main part of town. Worked in the family business for many years and then went to the University of Maine where I ran cross country and track, studied history. Wound up working in the commercial kitchens there. Started out as a dishwasher, worked as a cook in the area, bartender, bar manager, lead cook. I worked in printing and publishing as a proofreader and editor. I've been a writer. I've done a little fur trapping on the farm when I was a kid to protect the chickens from the predators in the area. I've done work as a public administrator, as a nonprofit administrator, and all those years of experience, especially the time that I spent in the legislature as a state representative for 4 terms, chairing 3 different committees, and then the work I did for 14 years as Secretary of State, with a year in there as executive director of the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine, kind of interspersed among all that. Been very, very privileged to be able to help people and move public policy in a way that helps people make their lives better. And in this time, especially as we get into this particular dangerous part of our history with the war in Iran and what's been happening in our cities and our economy, People approached me over a year ago about the possibility of running for public office, running for Congress. They really felt that I had a profile that would meet the district very nicely. So we began a campaign back in October of this past year, and we began talking to people. It's really resonated. Amazing things happen when you talk to people about what their issues are, and listen to what they have to say, and then translate that back to them in terms of public policy. What we've been able to do is come up with what we call a people's agenda, talk about the things that actually affect working families in Maine, things like access to health care and health care insurance, the affordability crisis. People can't buy homes right now, people can't afford to go to college, and the price of everything has gone up 30, 35, and 50%. 54% of Mainers right now cannot afford to meet their basic health care costs or their basic costs of living. And I think Congress, in the meantime, has done things like they've cut the top nominal tax rate by 50% since 1980, haven't touched the minimum wage since 2009. There's an awful lot that we need to do and can do together, and I want to be a part of that solution, and that's why I am running for Congress.
Well, Democratic candidate Jordan Wood was in Bangor to talk about his vision for Maine and America. The 37-year-old is running for the 2nd District congressional seat as well. Wood talked about making childcare and housing more affordable for working families. He also talked about watching families struggle with medical issues and emergencies.
We need to get to a system of Medicare for all. We need to decouple health insurance from your employer so that people have the security to get the help and care that they need without fear of going broke or sinking into medical debt.
Wood said Medicare should include dental, vision, and hearing because those things are necessary and are not options.
Well, CD2 Democratic candidate Joe Baldacci spoke out against the war with Iran and his potential Republican opponents' lack of public comment on the conflict. Baldacci told listeners it's been 100 days since the Trump administration launched the war, which he says has cost 13 American lives and triggered price hikes across the board for Americans, including Mainers on just about all basic needs, especially gas. He said while Maine's congressional delegation has condemned the war in the past, Baldacci says former governor and presumptive Republican candidate for CD2, Paul LePage, has remained silent despite hardships inflicted on Mainers.
It's time for Paul LePage to come out of hiding and to answer the questions, do you support this war in Iran? Let me be clear, I don't support the war in Iran, and when I'm in Congress, I will vote to rein in the powers of President Trump to start wars without congressional approval.
Baldacci says he's heard from many voters who are upset about the war with Iran and increased cost. He urged everyone to get out and vote today.
Well, buses in and around Bangor will be free today as Community Connector works to help residents get to the polls and encourage new riders to give public transit a try. The free fare program has become an Election Day tradition in recent years, with rides offered at no cost during both the June and November elections. Bangor Transit Administrator Lori Linscott says buses will be stopping at polling locations in Bangor, Hamden, Vesey, and Orono as part of their regular routes. Riders heading to the polling places in Brewer or Old Town are asked to let the driver know in advance.
If you need to get to Brewer, they're at the rec center. Just tell the driver you need to go to the polls in Brewer, and also in Old Town. It is request only, just because both of those are off the route a little bit, so we'll just detour to get you there.
Linscott says the program is part of the city's ongoing effort to remove transportation barriers and help ensure every resident has access to the ballot box. What a nice,
that's awesome.
Good idea.
Definitely.
Nice thing to do. Tomorrow at this time, we'll be reading what results are
We
there.
will be.
But one way or another, it's going to be a very busy election day. Hopefully people get out there and vote.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, the time now is 6:23. After the break, a new survey shows Americans are more worried about their household budgets than they've been in years. We'll find out why coming up.
Plus, middle schoolers in Old Town wrote speeches summarizing their literature studies. We'll hear from them coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Graham, why are you running for Senate?
Because I f***ing love this state. When I got home after my service overseas, I was struggling. Maine wrapped its arms around me. My community gave me belonging. Our natural resources gave me purpose. Now all that is under attack by corrupt politicians who are selling us out to corporations and billionaires. I'm Graham Plattner, and I don't take a dollar of corporate money. And I approve this message because I won't turn my back on the home that never turned its back on me.
Honey, where's the countertop?
I sent it out to the granite shop this morning to be replaced.
Wow.
The quickest turnaround in the business, the Granite Shop in Sedgwick.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles, woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
As part of a writing assignment, middle school students in Old Town are asking the question, what do we owe each other?
Our Sam Miller with that story.
Leonard Middle School held a student pitch event in their library where 7th grade students wrote personal speeches centered around the question, what do we owe each other? To summarize their experience while studying ethics and literature. 5 7th grade students were chosen to speak, with the speeches focusing on what the students believe people owe to each other, such as genuine kindness and holding each other accountable. English language arts teacher Rachel Beckwith expressed her pride in the students.
The kids were amazing. They always are, and just when you're standing up there watching them, and just had a big grin on my face, just so proud of them. But their messages, I thought it was unique. All their messages were different.
Beckwith added that the purpose behind this event is for the students to let their voices be heard.
I want them to understand that their voice matters. That people do care what they have to say, even though they're 12 or 13 years old. More than me, more than the principal and other teachers, but actually people out here want to hear what people have to say.
The students say the speeches have helped them be more comfortable with public speaking, and they saw how each interpretation was special in its own way.
We all just had to brainstorm what we thought that question meant, and we all just went different routes of what we thought it meant.
Students applauded each other's hard work, reflecting the students' commitment to their own powerful words. In Old Town, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
What a great project.
Yeah, looks like a nice little exercise. Yeah. Well, now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Evan Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. Already wave heights, let's check those out at around 2 feet, according to the buoys right off the coast. Further off towards the north and east, we're looking good as well, with no advisories in effect at this time. On land, we're looking good too. Further out towards sea at around 2 to 4 feet at this moment in time. On land, though, we'll get to that in a few seconds. Water temperature is still in the mid-50s in the ocean. Cooler further off towards the north and east with the hotter temperatures that we are noticing. Many of you thinking about the ocean. I would still be careful with that. It will still be easy to get hyperthermia with water temperatures this cold at this point. Meanwhile, on land, let's talk about that now. We do have some rain showers just outside of the country, but for us, we're looking pretty good with a lot of sunshine and a few passing clouds at this point. We will be under a partly cloudy sky coming up later on this evening, but for us today, we'll be under a mostly sunny sky. Other areas, though, seeing some showers and even some thunderstorms this morning. But for us, Futurecast showing some sunshine today, some more clouds during the afternoon period. Overnight, we'll be under a partly cloudy sky, and as we head forward tomorrow, the clouds will be continuing. As we head towards Wednesday evening, some showers and some thunderstorms will be moving in ahead of our next area of low pressure, and those precipitation chances will be continuing as we head towards your Thursday. With all the sunshine today, that UV index will be at an 8. That's very high, a burn time of 15 minutes, so hats, sunglasses, sunscreen, and shade shade will be necessary to avoid a bad sunburn. So for today, here we go. Upper 80s, mostly sunny, and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight, upper 50s under a partly cloudy sky, and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, all right, partly to mostly cloudy with highs in the middle 80s and that south breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, here we go. Your extended forecast. We are going to be watching for more showers and thunderstorms for your Thursday with highs in the upper 70s. And then we have lower 80s coming up for your Friday under a mostly cloudy sky. And then for your Saturday, more showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid 70s.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
Spring is the ideal time to service your heat pump and protect your investment. At Omega Property Management, our professional heat pump cleaning removes built-up dust and debris that can reduce efficiency and drive up energy costs. A clean system doesn't just perform better, it uses less energy, helping lower your monthly electric bills and often paying for itself over time. Improve performance, extend the life of your system, and keep your home comfortable all season long. Efficient systems, smarter savings. Call us at 270-3294 to schedule your appointment today.
Joe Baldacci, the hand-picked yes man of dark money DC. He's bankrolled by DC and beholden to them, not us. The truth? Joe Baldacci is the only Democrat running for Congress who stands with Trump and opposed implementing Medicare for all Mainers now. Good for the establishment, bad for Mainers. Reject dark money and corporate Democrats. Vote no on DC's hand-picked yes man, Joe Baldacci. Real Change PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This spring, invest in your nest with the County Federal Credit Union. Your home has grown in value, season after season. With the county's 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, you can borrow up to your credit limit over 10 years, with interest-only payments over those 10 years, 10-10. And then you can stop and smell the roses, soak up the sun, and invest in your nest. The 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, the County Federal Credit Union, countyfcu.org.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
A new survey finds Americans are increasingly worried about the cost of living as the war in Iran drags on. ABC's Karen Waugh with the details.
This morning, a new survey shows Americans are more worried about their household budgets than they've been in years.
I had to really tighten up on my going places and buying stuff.
The Federal Reserve Bank of New York survey finds 44% of Americans now say their financial situation is worse than a year ago, and 13% say their situation is much worse, the highest percentage in 4 years.
I mean, it's the gas prices are really, for me, they're just a real inconvenience. I'm on a fixed income. I had to cut down on my food.
The financial unease putting added strain on food pantries. This church's food pantry in Durham, North Carolina, opens each Thursday, but church leaders are trying to be flexible.
And we really want to be able to support people whenever they need it.
The war in Iran, one major factor behind rising costs. Overnight, a U.S. Army helicopter went down near the Strait of Hormuz, but President Trump confirms the pilots inside are, quote, fine. What caused the crash remains unclear. Trump also insists the U.S. is nearing a peace deal with Iran.
We're in the final throes of what will be a very, very good deal that will not allow in any way, shape, or form nuclear weapons, etc.
Israel now says it stopped airstrikes against Iran after the two attacked each other for the first time since April's ceasefire. President Trump says he doesn't blame Israel for retaliating.
He was hit, he hit back, and now they've called it quits, so they're going to just leave each other alone.
President Trump says after a peace deal is reached, the U.S. will likely be involved in rebuilding Iran's infrastructure. And Trump says the U.S. could get, quote, half their oil. But he did not elaborate. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
Well, it was an incredible scene when a trailer full of fireworks went up in flames in Tennessee. It happened over the weekend on Interstate 75 in Chattanooga. A truck was hauling a trailer when it caught fire, touching off an unexpected fireworks show. Both lanes of the interstate were closed for several hours. There were no injuries reported, and it's still unclear what caused the fire. Authorities say there were multiple hazardous materials violations involved in that shipment.
Well, now to another security incident involving air travel. Days after we learned about a man boarding a plane without a valid boarding pass, there's word that an airline pilot is accused of flying without the proper license. ABC's Hannah Battah with more.
This morning, new questions being raised about safety in the skies. The latest incident? An Air Canada pilot arrested on fraud charges, accused of flying thousands of passengers on hundreds of flights without the proper license. Officials say the investigation began after a random certification check revealed inconsistencies. The airline denies safety was ever compromised, saying all pilots at Air Canada undergo mandatory recurrent training every 6 months, but acknowledging the licensing process is essential. The airline saying it takes this matter with utmost seriousness. Police are expected to reveal more details today. Meanwhile, the man accused of boarding a United Airlines flight in Houston without a valid boarding pass appeared in court. His attorney claims 25-year-old Abdul Rahman Oriyami unknowingly bought a fake boarding pass online, thinking he was buying a cheap ticket.
All of us can see the problem with using the internet to obtain a ticket when it's not coming from the airline itself, and that is what the case is all about.
Investigators claim Oriyami tried twice to board a flight using the pass, but was turned away. They say about an hour later, he walked past distracted gate agents and boarded a flight to Los Angeles, where he was later found hiding in the bathroom.
Here we had several failures just right off the bat. A failure to be able to stop this individual before he got through TSA and into the secure area, and a failure, amazingly, to catch him before he walked down the jetway and got on the airplane.
His attorney did not elaborate on that fake ticket bought online. If convicted, Oriyami could face at least 6 months in prison. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, Husson University is now expanding their online degree options.
We'll tell you all about it coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Graham, why are you running for Senate?
Because I f***ing love this state. When I got home after my service overseas, I was struggling. Maine wrapped its arms around me. My community gave me belonging. Our natural resources gave me purpose. Now all that is under attack by corrupt politicians who are selling us out to corporations and billionaires. I'm Graham Plattner, and I don't take a dollar of corporate money. And I approve this message because I won't turn my back on the home that never turned its back on me.
Mainly Tacos Dos is located on Main Street in Bangor, several doors down from the Maine Discovery Museum. It's a place for great food, drinks, and atmosphere. Check out our menu online. Mainly Tacos Dos, 64 Main Street, Bangor.
Your internet experience feels different, ultra reliable, lightning fast. With Fidium 100% fiber, everything you do online works exactly like it should.
Bye, bud. Zach, go to bed.
So is cable internet still slowing you down? Enough already. Fiber up to Fidium. Get a 2 gig plan for only $65 a month at fidiumfiber.com.
I'm Jordan Wood. Everywhere I go, Mainers tell me they've had enough. Tired of higher costs, exhausted by endless wars, and worn out by corporate greed. Washington is failing us. It's time for a new generation to fight Trump and the billionaires. I've already taken on election deniers and won. I'll never take a dime from corporate PACs or lobbyists. I'm Jordan Wood, and I approve this message because I'll fight corruption, defend our democracy, and finally pass Medicare for all.
It's more than a cup. It's the heaviest 35 pounds ever lifted.
It's the hardest trophy to win.
The only question is, who will raise it?
The Stanley Cup Final continues on ABC.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
back, everyone. Today is Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. This is also National Meal Prep Day.
Meal prep is sometimes ignored, but specialists believe it could be a key to living a healthier life. At a time when people are spending less time cooking and more time buying takeout, meal prep gives us more control over the foods that we eat. We tend to eat healthier when we give our food a little more thought, and preparing meals ahead of time can also save us a lot of money.
Makes sense. You do a little meal prepping.
I do. I do my breakfast for here. I do a little yogurt bowl, and I just normally make them on Sunday and have them throughout the week. And it's a lot easier than having to do it in the morning.
I should do it more. I don't do a lot of prepping. I'm the type like, what am I hungry for today? And then I'll get it.
Well, it can be helpful, and it definitely does save money as well.
Yeah, makes sense. I buy way too much takeout. All right, time for history. It was on this day back in 1934. Donald Duck waddled into pop culture during his debut in the Disney film The Wise Little Hen. In 1954, during the McCarthy hearings, the Army Special Counsel berated Senator Joseph McCarthy, asking, "Have you no sense of decency, sir?" It marked a turning point that effectively ended the senator's anti-communist witch hunt. In fact, McCarthy was censured by the Senate later on that year. And in 1972 on this day, heavy rains triggered record flooding in the Black Hills of South Dakota. The resulting disaster left at least 238 people dead and more than 1,300 homes destroyed.
Wow. In 1973, Secretariat won the Belmont Stakes by 31 lengths. It became the first horse in many years to win America's coveted Triple Crown and set a track record that still stands today. It was named the Horse of the Century and went on to sire other champion racers in his retirement as well. In 1986, the Rogers Commission released its report on the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. It criticized NASA and the rocket builder for management problems, leading to the explosion that claimed the lives of 7 astronauts. And lastly, in 2013, tennis great Roger Nadal became the first man to win 8 titles at the same Grand Slam tennis tournament. He finished his career with an incredible 14 French Open titles.
One of the best.
Yes.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actor Michael J. Fox, who is 65, actor Johnny Depp is 63 today, and actress Natalie Portman is 45 years old today. Happy birthday to them, and to you also if your birthday is today. Quite a talented,
very talented
trio
group.
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote. 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. This morning looking pretty good. We have a little bit of precipitation outside of the country, but for us, high pressure continues to remain in control and keep us nice and quiet. We will be watching for some sunshine and clouds that will be mixed in today. As for the rest of the Northeast, we are staying quiet, but some more clouds are starting to move in across other areas of the northeastern states. Futurecast for us, some sunshine, but we'll notice more clouds during parts of the afternoon period. Notice later on tonight, some more clouds will be developing. As we do move forward in time, notice we do have some more winds that will be moving in, gusting to about 15, perhaps 20 miles per hour at times. That wind will be backing off later on tonight, but picking up a tiny bit in some areas as we head towards Wednesday afternoon. But in the meantime, for today, we do have upper 80s under a mostly sunny sky and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. The hourly forecast moving forward, lots of sunshine today with temperatures reaching for the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
Don't go away.
The Whoopie Pie Festival is coming to Dover Foxcroft, and Berg Activewear is pleased to be a part of it again this year. Thank you for letting us be a sponsor, and we're looking forward to all the new flavors. Berg Activewear, celebrating 40 years of screen printing and embroidery.
Joe Baldacci, the hand-picked yes man of dark money DC. He's bankrolled by DC and beholden to them, not us. The truth? Joe Baldacci is the only Democrat running for Congress who stands with Trump and opposed implementing Medicare for all Mainers now. Good for the establishment, bad for Mainers. Reject dark money and corporate Democrats. Vote no on DC's handpicked yes man, Joe Baldacci. Real Change PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Are you in need of remodeling your bathroom? Want to convert your tub into a safe walk-in shower? Call the experts at Bangor Bathrooms by Design now. They offer complete bathroom remodels, and from start to finish, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call them now and save thousands. 659-6457. Enjoy that brand new bathroom you've always wanted from Bangor Bathrooms by Design. Transforming bathrooms, elevating lives.
The Whoopie Pie Festival is coming to Dover Foxcroft, and Berg Activewear is pleased to be a part of it again this year. Thank you for letting us be a sponsor, and we're looking forward to all the new flavors. Berg Activewear, celebrating 40 years of screen printing and embroidery.
Hey, Maine, think you're wicked smart? Well, put your knowledge to the test with me, Ken Jennings, on Jeopardy! Weeknights at 7:30 on ABC 7.
Welcome back in, everyone. NBA Finals Game 3 between the Spurs and Knicks slated for Monday night, with the Knicks bringing a 2-0 series lead with them back to New York and Madison Square Garden. The Big Apple has been a zoo all series long, but is expected to be turned up a notch as the series comes to the city between the rabid fan base and President Donald Trump planning to attend Game 3 Madison Square Garden, and the blocks around it were put on lockdown. They canceled the watch party, and as of 4 p.m. on Monday, they closed all streets between West 30th and 35th to vehicular and pedestrian traffic. The only way you'd be allowed in that area is you have credentials, have a business in the area, have a train ticket, or a ticket to the game. Speaking of which, is Sunday would cost you almost $8,000 just to get in the building. It's since dropped and was just under $4,000, a slight $4,000 on Monday afternoon, but just insane prices. Let's head to MSG now to check in on that game. We pick it up in the first where the Spurs started hot. Victor Wembanyama drives and gets the bucket and the foul to keep his team rolling early. They'd hold a big lead for the majority of the first half, but late in the second, here come the Knicks. Josh Hart bangs the three and gives his team their first lead. Then Jalen Brunson adds to it shortly after. Knicks lead at the half as MSG's going crazy and the Stars are in the building. They're hoping to get their money's worth. Towards the end of the third now, tied at 76, Wemby pulls up from deep and drains it. Spurs right back in this one. Down the stretch we go. Knicks down 6. Brunson pulls up. He drains it. Down 3 now. On the other end, De'Aaron Fox, former clutch player of the year, he drives, pulls up from mid-range, and he extends the lead back up to 5. After that, it's OG Anunoby. He drains the corner 3 to make it a 2-point game, but Stephon Castle would make his free throws, and the Spurs take Game 3 on the road, 115 to 111. You're paying 5-6 figs for a loss to watch as a Knicks fan. That is a tough pill to swallow. Game 4 on Wednesday. Well, folks, on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on ABC, we'll have a live Cooper Flag Year in Review special where we recap Coop's amazing first year in the NBA, from draft night to winning Rookie of the Year. And to get you ready, let's bring you back to Newport and relive that historic June night together.
With the first pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Cooper Flag from Duke University.
June 25th, 2025, a day Governor Janet Mills has declared Cooper Flag Day across the state of Maine, a day that's been decades in the making for the Maine basketball community.
I played basketball a long time around here. We've been waiting for this, so we deserve this. You know what I mean?
It's so special, I can't even say it.
I've never experienced this in my life before, and it's probably one of the greatest things I'll ever experience in my life. Just not from Newport, but just to be in Maine, #1 overall, it's really cool.
A day young athletes across the state will remember and lean on for decades to come as they dream of heights once thought impossible.
I mean, it's very inspirational that he's from Maine and we're a small town or a small state, and he's just a very good player.
When you're growing up and you're playing basketball, especially in Maine, you don't have a lot to look up to.
Hopefully it opens the doors for a lot of other children that are in small rural areas to maybe keep striving for the best that they can do, and who knows, maybe they'll be in the same situation.
It's a celebratory day across the state, but there's no place more proud than his hometown of Newport.
Obviously filled with so much pride, joy for Cooper and his family, and like happy for our community. Like our communities get to celebrate this and claim him as one of our own, so it's just been unbelievable.
From Newport, Jack Webb, ABC7, Fox 22 Sports.
We will have more on that night and every other major event in Cooper Flag's historic rookie year on Wednesday at 7 p.m. on ABC. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. We're right back after the break.
Bobby Charles sounds good, doesn't he? Well, none of it's true. Mr. Crime Fighter? Nope. Bobby Charles has spent 25 years as a Washington, D.C. lobbyist. He'll clean up Augusta? Wrong again. When Charles ran a federal agency, auditors slammed him for poor management and wasting billions of tax dollars. Charles' record was a total disaster. So don't be fooled by Bobby Charles. You can't trust anything he says.
Tech that lets you be you. How it should be. The Hyundai Tucson. Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson SE for $209 a month. Or get 0.99% APR for 60 months. Hurry in.
When it comes to your home, go to the source. Go to R&B's Home Source in Madison. R&B's Home Source has home comfort, convenience, and savings all wrapped up in one location. From the living room to the dining room to the bedroom, we have some of the best values in furniture and bedding. For the kitchen, R&B's Home Source has top-notch appliances from fridges to ranges, even washers and dryers. And sit back and relax with quality electronics. We service everything we sell too. For your home, go to the source. R&B's Home Source, Lakewood Road, Madison.
Hudson University is expanding its online degree offerings. They are adding new Bachelor of Science degrees in marine biology and conservation, one in wildlife care and rehabilitation, and another in wildlife conservation and management. They're also adding 4 new online certificate programs.
Marine biology is growing. I think there's over 500,000 jobs available right now for marine biologists, and honestly there's not a lot of flexible online programs in marine biology, for example. So we're combining the labor market, the professional focus, and people's passion.
Hudson officials say the programs will prepare students to be career ready on day one in their fields.
That's nice.
It's nice to see Hudson over the years to grow into what it's become today.
Yeah, it gives students a lot more opportunity as well.
Yeah.
Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. Already wave heights, let's check those out at around 2 feet, according to the buoys right off the coast. Further off towards the north and east, we're looking good as well, with no advisories in effect at this time. On land, we're looking good too. Further out towards sea at around 2 to 4 feet at this moment in time. On land, though, we'll get to that in a few seconds. Water temperature is still in the mid-50s in the ocean. Cooler further off towards the north and east with the hotter temperatures that we are noticing. Many of you thinking about the ocean. I would still be careful with that. It will still be easy to get hyperthermia with water temperatures this cold at this point. Meanwhile, on land, let's talk about that now. We do have some rain showers just outside of the country, but for us, we're looking pretty good with a lot of sunshine and a few passing clouds at this point. We will be under a partly cloudy sky coming up later on this evening, but for us today, we'll be under a mostly sunny sky. Other areas, though, seeing some showers and even some thunderstorms this morning. But for us, Futurecast showing some sunshine today, some more clouds clouds during the afternoon period. Overnight, we'll be under a partly cloudy sky, and as we head forward tomorrow, the clouds will be continuing. As we head towards Wednesday evening, some showers and some thunderstorms will be moving in ahead of our next area of low pressure, and those precipitation chances will be continuing as we head towards your Thursday. With all the sunshine today, that UV index will be at an 8. That's very high. A burn time of 15 minutes, so hats, sunglasses, sunscreen, and shade will be necessary to avoid a bad sunburn. So for today, here we go. Upper 80s, mostly sunny, and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight, upper 50s under a partly cloudy sky, and that west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, all right, partly to mostly cloudy with highs in the middle 80s and that south breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, here we go. Your extended forecast. We are going to be watching for more showers and thunderstorms for your Thursday with highs in the upper 70s. And then we have lower 80s coming up for your Friday under a mostly cloudy sky. And then for your Saturday, more showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid 70s.
When outdoors, some people like it hot and some people like it cold. However, when indoors, most people like it comfortably warm. Consider a Rinnai direct vent wall furnace from McCusick Petroleum Company to provide you with comfortable and efficient heat. They also offer sales and service on many brands of furnaces, boilers, and water heaters. McCusick Petroleum Company delivers oil and LP gas to homes and businesses throughout the Pequot region. If you'd like more information on pricing or service, call or stop by our office in Dover Foxcroft.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Think you know Robert Charles? Think again. While President Trump was crushing the woke left, DC insider Bob Charles was cashing in, making millions holding lucrative contracts with the woke DEI Never Trump Obama administration. Bob Charles, looking the other way, abandoning the MAGA movement, working for liberal DEI-loving Democrats, failing President Trump. Anything for a buck chuck can't be trusted. Trump traitor Robert Charles, woke, radical, wrong. Just too liberal for Maine.
Hey, Michael, catch this.
Got it, Chuck.
Hey, Robin, catch this.
Ooh, nice pass there, Shaq.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
We're ready.
Let's do this.
Game on.
Hosted by Leah Remini.
4 of them make $1.
Orders.
What is swing? Did you just say what is?
Yes.
You just realized you're not on Jeopardy. Okay.
People Puzzler
on ABC 7.
Well, we're about out of time.
We are.
On this busy election day. This is my meal prep for the day. I'm all prepped and ready for the day.
That's
so
perfect,
That's
Craig.
about the extent of it.
Yeah,
so.
it works.
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
We'll continue broadcasting on Fox 22, and of course later on today we'll have all the latest on the election as it unfolds.
Definitely get out there and cast your vote.
Have a great day, everyone.
Are you in need of remodeling your bathroom? Want to convert your tub into a safe walk-in shower? Call the experts at Bangor Bathrooms by Design now. They offer complete bathroom remodels, and from start to finish, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call them now and save thousands. 659-6457. Enjoy that brand new bathroom you've always wanted from Bangor Bathrooms by Design. Transforming bathrooms, elevating lives.
yelling. I don't believe a word coming out of your mouth.
Shoving and punching and fighting.
At that moment, it was on.
You're not in Kansas anymore, Dorothy.
On ABC7.
Judge Judy never misses a beat.
This is my playpen.
Let me stop you.
Don't stop me ever. Is not an answer. Your Honor. I still love this job.
Judge Judy.
Weekdays at 5 on ABC7.
A Dixmont couple is embracing the homestead lifestyle and the adventures that come with raising Highland cows.
Takes a lot of time getting them used to you and comfortable with you.
Something I didn't realize I would enjoy as much as I do.
We'll take you to the Highland Hill Homestead tonight on ABC7 News at 6.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. Breaking news overnight. A U.S. copter down near Iran, the next Artemis mission, and the Spurs take down the Knicks. Breaking overnight. A U.S. Army helicopter crashes near the Strait of Hormuz. Martha Radis tracking the latest developments from the Middle East.
At the polls.
Plus, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office is investigating a fatal crash on Route 9 in Eddington. Those details ahead.
And we'll also take a look at gasoline prices from the past week and see how they compare to last month's figures.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us today. We'll have all the day's news coming up, including the latest on the elections. Boy, it's going to be
busy day.
Busy day. We're back in the saddle again. It's
We
good
are.
to see you, my friend.
Yeah, you as well.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
Almost expected to see you bring back a baby buffalo on your trip out west.
I wish I could have, scooped it up and gave it a little pet, but can't do that.
We enjoyed your photos.
Yes,
and it's good to have you.